afternoon. You can't imagine how excited I am to have you back. This is 3 years since we had the class here. So it's just a wonderful thing, and I hope you... What? I don't know what I can do. Better? Okay. All right. I said I am just thrilled to have you back. You know, it's been 3 years since we've had a class here, and it is just wonderful to finally do this again. Thank you for coming, and I hope you will come to our other classes as well as to the concerts. And I am delighted to introduce Gil Kalish, a distinguished musician, a wonderful colleague, who is going to give us a really insightful afternoon. So without further ado, thank you, Gil. I'm looking forward.
So I don't know if this will work. Do you hear? Okay. Well, I'm really honored to be sort of the first public event of the season here, and to give a class to you all. And it's been a wonderful week for me. The students are quite amazing. The level of talent and enthusiasm and excitement and collaboration is just beautiful here. This is a great, great festival. I love coming here. I've come here for many years. Unfortunately, I'm not here for a lot of it because I have other obligations, so sorry to have to leave after today, but I think you'll hear some absolutely wonderful playing today, and I look forward to that and to communicating with our wonderful players. So let's welcome Amir. No, you can sit there. I'm just getting the music out. Okay, beautiful. So, when I was young, a while ago, pianists really played basically one sonata of Haydn, which was another E-flat sonata that he wrote. That was his last sonata that he wrote after being in London and discovering a new piano. It had a kind of larger feel to it, you know, bigger dynamic range. And yet, and this is quite a late sonata, this is just before that, just before he went to London. He was already a renowned figure. And it's hard to imagine the amount and the quality of what he wrote. You know, we all know the 104 symphonies. I don't know how many quartets, but 60, something like that. There's 62 piano sonatas, some of which have not been unearthed yet, some early ones. And every piece is full of imagination and humor, and, you know, passion too, of course. When we think about, somehow a silly thing to think of, but if you would want to go and have dinner with a famous composer, it sort of seems like Haydn would be a nice man to have dinner with. He's a very genial person, and totally unpretentious. So I think even from the first note, you can hit da-da-da-da-dum. Now, okay, dee-da-da-da-dum, I'll do it in reverse. There's a kind of, you know, non-demonstrative kind of quiet humor. It makes you smile, not laugh. And that's very hard in music to do. And I think nobody does it as Haydn does it. So, underappreciated by pianists, not by quartet players who adore to play all of his quartets, even from Opus 1, from very early on. And he wrote from the 60s, 1760s, up until the early 1800s. So it's a long career. Then it's reputed when he heard Beethoven's Opus 18, he said, okay, things have passed me by and it's time for me to stop. You know, Beethoven was a kind of student, rebellious student of his, and I mean, thinking of him playing quartets with Mozart and loving the music of Mozart and being a very generous kind of colleague, Beethoven sort of rebelled at his instruction, but still dedicated some music to him. All right, so Amir, very many beautiful things, and you play so easily and naturally. So sometimes I feel that you kind of rush figures like that, and enjoy that. Now, and smile. Then. Okay, that's good. And I mean, you hear in the piece, da ba ba ba, ba 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 ba. I mean, how can you make music out of that? But he develops that. And it's also, he uses different range and color. Again, something that brings a smile to our face in a way. So, dynamics are interesting in Haydn on the piano because he had clearly a different instrument than we have. And the scale of dynamics was clearly more limited than what we have on our wonderful 9-foot Steinways and other pianos. So it's a kind of issue for all of us when we play the music. How do we deal with that particular issue without trying to sound like we're playing an old instrument, because that doesn't really work, as it doesn't work in Bach when we written on a harpsichord, but we played on the piano because the music is greater than the medium in a way. and it can take all kinds of transcriptions. So in a way, it's a kind of transcription from the sound that he had in his head. So I would say, kind of in a, like perhaps too much simplicity, that the range of dynamics in somebody like Haydn, as compared to Beethoven, just a few years later, or even at the same time, is like from here to there rather than from here to there. He very rarely writes pianissimo, and for the piano, and also very rarely writes fortissimo. He does in the very last sonata that I was speaking about earlier, the one that you probably will know because it was always played, that he sort of starts with a flourish like that, and he starts fortissimo. And you can hear, oh, he found a new piano that had different possibilities. So even writing the kind of chordal writing at the beginning like that, and so rhetorical, it shows, I think composers are very great composers write for the instruments that they have, for the medium that they have. And so when he had another piano, he celebrated that. Anyway, this is different, even though, and you see in the score very little direction about things like that. So he could write a piano, or in this case, he doesn't write anything at the beginning, like use your head and use your good taste. You're not going to play this, aggressively. So, there's a lot of kind of dependence on the performance practice of the time, and the fact that he probably knew many of the players that he was writing the pieces for. It wasn't something that he wrote for posterity, in a way. He wrote it for his musicians. So he can have piano, and it can be there for a whole page. It doesn't mean that you just don't do dynamics. It means, okay, this is in this range. Now, don't go too far away from it, but be expressive in this range. Sorry. All right, so play a little bit now. I thought a little more relaxed than the first time. And beautiful proportions, I thought. And another thing about Haydn, it changes, like every few measures. It can be, very different mood. So even the beginning, something very lyrical. All of a sudden, after these little kinds of pointillistic, witty things. All right, and then like da-dee, da-dee, all of a sudden very lyrical, tee-da-ta-ta-tee-dum. I thought you did it beautifully. So watch out, there's sforzandos inside the color that you're in. Ta-da-da-dee-dum, pa-da-da-da. And then beautiful how you handled dee-da-da-dee-da-dum. Well, okay, what's that? Okay, so let's go on. beautiful. The scale between your piano and forte, I thought was just really right when you came here at the end. Again, you're less, aggressive in your fortes this time. Beautiful runs. Okay. Here, I think, don't be afraid of the trills. They don't have to be fast trills, but they should be melodic. Also the turns. So make the turns melodic. Okay, can you take from, yeah, good. So you have da 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 pum 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 da. You want to do them all alike? You sort of no. Do you want to do? You have this repetition, then you have that. You want to do the same gesture there, or do you?
Probably not. Yeah.
So I think to me you're doing a little bit too much da 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 da. I would think of it as a longer phrase. Da 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 ti, so ti da pa 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 pa, and again, but da 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 da. It's still going on to here.
Yeah.
Now a little nerdy piano thing. You're fingering here. How you doing that? Fingering.
I do.
Let's do it again. Let me see. So what I would do, I would move my hand to there, and I wouldn't do that. You don't seem comfortable on the turn, and I think it's the fingering. I think that'll be better. Also, sing all the notes on the turn. Don't think of it as fast. Think of it as melodic. Beautiful. Okay, good. Try from here. See what. Can you make this more into a longer line? And it goes there. Okay, the third time it goes to a different place. Okay, so I think another fingering will help that. Good. Be careful that you don't make an automatic swell, like, it's still going on. Now the third time, okay. There you can sing. So I would watch that. And in a general way, I think you may have a kind of, that you generally sort of make those kind of swoops up. Anyway, let's go on. And you should know that there's no crescendo marked. but I think that it's totally justified by the music, by the intensity of the music and where it's going. So it's not written, but I think it was very tasteful. Okay, so I would articulate maybe more a little bit, ta-pa-pa-pum, ta-ta-ta-tum, ti-ti-ta, because you're coming up to pa-pa-pa-pa.
Yeah.
So again, a kind of master composer at the height of his powers, he uses that accompanying figure all of a sudden to make a real development. So play from that for here so they hear the left hand there and then how it goes on. Okay, great. And shape that harmonically. I wouldn't be afraid to use pedal if you need to. I mean, to make, so just to give it a little more resonance, or not to take away from the separate quality of it, but just to give it a little more body. And maybe, okay, now what happens to the music? Maybe it gets more intense there, sorry, and then comes down again. Okay, and now, all of a sudden it becomes, immensely lyrical.
Yeah.
The same figure leads into something else. And all of these. Okay, so do the same again. If you don't mind, try. Ti-pum, dum, bum, ti, on the articulation. Now sing. Ta-da. So this is all the same as the beginning. Okay. Okay, why don't you try from here. Okay. can you make the end really sound like an end?
Yeah.
Like maybe just feel a significance of, not that it broadens a lot, but that you really feel that as the last chord. So here he's developing ta-dee-da-da-da-dum, tee-da-da-da-da, tee-dee-da-da-da-da, all of that.
Yeah.
Here, I wouldn't die down so much, you know, maybe either sound-wise or time-wise. And, you know, you take a quite long time before you go on. There is no fermata written, you know, not to be pedantic, but he does write fermatas, and so maybe try not to do that. Or, you know, try it once and see how you feel. And so not to come down too much, and then to be sort of in time. And so this time he adds, you know, to that repeated figure. Nice the way you handled that, I thought. Here you played, I mean, you played piano. He has it in the next measure. You might want to be more attentive to that. Ta-dee-da-da-da. And then he has the piano. Okay. You know, again, up to you. Articulation on these octaves. I would think not necessarily so short. You know, so not.
Yeah.
Again, that doesn't say one way or the other. It's not slurred, it's not dotted, but again, that's sort of a matter of a degree of articulation and the taste of the player. Okay, so can you do the same thing? Better at the end, I thought. You can decide to hump the articulation of those. I would suggest that, not legato. And here there is a fermata, which you do. You know, again, kind of example of Haydn's wonderful inventiveness and sense of humor. So you have ta-dee-da-da-da-da, dee-da-da-da-da-da, and then this up here, and then bo-dee-da-da-da-da. He uses the whole range of the piano, you know, in these wonderful kind of canons, improvisation, you know. And he uses the piano really well to use that register way down there. So I don't know, how did you like that? How'd you like that being forte?
Yeah, that makes sense, sure.
Okay. All right, Amir, thank you very much. Okay, it's an example of the kind of quality playing.
So I am not your next performer.
No? Oh.
No, and you'll be glad that I am not. But I just wanted to make sure that we took a moment, take out any cell phones, silence them, turn them off. Any watches, tablets, or electronic devices that may want to turn this next trio into a quartet. If you could just silence those. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Okay. Well, we have two masterpieces coming up by two of the, iconic figures in classical music. This late trio by Schubert, one of two written, as so much was written late in his life, astonishing the amount that he wrote late in his life, of course, and in general. And then a very powerful quartet of Brahms, piano quartet of Brahms. So again, you're in for a treat with the music. All right, you guys. I have it. put this out? Put this here. Okay. So you know, these people have had beautiful playing. I've never heard him before, so I've heard the others. I know they're beautiful players. So these people have had like 4 days to work on this music. So this is the first week, so it's so accomplished and beautiful what you do. Okay, so the issues that I have maybe are equivalency of sounds between all of you. I was sitting back there, so I don't really get the presence of the piano. You know, people talk about balance issues with pianos, but I think that's a bit of a red herring. And because strings have so much more of a kind of narrow intensity. Pianos can have a body of sound, can be thick, but they don't have quite the intensity, the narrowness of the core of the sound. They're different families. So I thought almost you were a little not articulate enough with your sound, that you could be more. It's not more volume, but just maybe more articulation. All right, so at the beginning, I see you start up bow, and I will have nothing to say about that because I shouldn't. I'm not confident. But I'd love to hear a little more tam. It sort of sounded wam. I didn't hear an attack. Do you not want an attack on the first note? I mean, I know you can do an attack with an up bow too. So, but I'd like to hear that it really begins. So, all right, why don't we start with that? Gorgeous legato on that run, that last run. So sometimes during the piece I felt like ends of phrases, you drop a lot. I mean, I could think that it leads to there rather than that. You know, really spoken. And, you know, I didn't mean articulation everywhere, like I don't mean here kinds of things. I meant more on passage work. So, I mean, that you don't want too much articulation. Okay, so suppose, try it once down bow. Again, I don't. Well, I won't comment on the opening, but I liked it. My string colleagues will probably be very annoyed at me, but anyway, I don't care. I feel like you snap the dotted figure. Yum, ba-dum, 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 dim, ba-dum, 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 to say it, more than brum. Almost don't think double dotting on it. So let's see. Okay, fine. Let's go on. Play your wonderful, yeah. So. So, I mean, a little bit, it's okay. I mean, it's again a matter of taste. Before the cello solo, you come way down. Da, 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 da. I think it's possible that you could lead to the cello solo rather than sort of come away. And the same here. Da 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 dee, to your own solo, to your own melody. You do da 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 dee. So you tend to die away a little bit on ends of phrases or connecting phrases, bridges. So think about that, Okay, also, maybe a little more bass on all of that. Right hand is beautiful. So you wrote nice cello solos, right? Yeah. Okay, you want to lead into the cello solo? So Chelsea, can you possibly get down a little faster to those second triplets? Right. So on both of those occasions, sort of, I don't hear it, and I think you're a little late. A very trivial point. You two don't, you're not together on the third beat. You're a little bit, I think, behind. Maybe, I don't remember, but whatever, just to be a little more attentive to that. Okay. What you do, nice. It may be a little excessive. You know, not to absolutely, you know, come to a halt. But, I mean, the idea is great, the phrasing is great. I think could be a little, you know, compressed. Okay, how about here, Chelsea? Like, what measure is that? 72. Okay, great. Yeah, good. So was that okay, that connection? I thought that was better, less, you know, less kind of suspended. Okay. Can you make more difference between this pianissimo and then, what is it says, mezzo forte or forte? Well, it's mezzo forte. Can you make that a little more grand, tum, bum, bee, bum, ba, you know, more contrast between the two. All right. How about, what is that, 77? Yep, thanks. And bum, ba. Are you sure you want to die that much? I'm not sure, you know. And then I think you slow down then after that. So how about after that fermato, that pause? Just, again, just an option, not that it's right or wrong. Could you think of these, the bass being not so short, but rather than do you think? Still very rhythmic, but maybe a little more substance on the low note. All right, good. So what I mean here is like that leading into it rather than you do that a little bit. And then I still think you slow down a little bit here. Okay. Okay, so let's go on after the double bar. Say that's just a beautiful pianissimo that you all play there. You really change the color a lot, and it's very beautiful what you do. Okay. So try not to stop after each part of the sequence. You know, try to make a longer phrase out of it from all of that. You know, as you keep modulating, just try to think longer rather than each one kind of tapering off. So can you do from there like, second measure, what is that? Second measure of the page? 139. 139. So, all very lovely, and I thought that you kept the sequence better together. Pianissimo is still beautiful. So that's a very long, wonderful phrase, you know, it keeps building. Can you make your lower note of your octave, T, ta, di? I lose that. You know, just in the blending of things. It's not that anybody's too loud. I think that you have to be more present on that. I mean, it's such a kind of intense phrase that's growing in the crescendo, so we lose it a little bit there. Okay, I think all of the time that you take is very beautiful. Okay, we're fine. And Chelsea, good adjusting there. Subtle things that happen when you play chamber music. She had to wait for people, and she did it without anybody knowing that she was doing it. It was beautiful. Yeah. So, I mean, that's, you know, that's real chamber music playing that one has to do. Okay. So how about we don't have to do that again, 183, coming into the G flat. Nice to make that color change. So tam ti di da. Can it now start rather than yup up 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 up? Can it start like ti ti? The time has been taken ti di da yup up 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 up. So to sort of be in time there, not to be too tentative. All right, same thing. Many ways that you can do that, kind of enjoying the modulation, the change. So you decided, you took time before the pianissimo. You could try dee-da-da-dum, dee-da-da-ta-dee, ta-da-dee-dum, and then ta-dee-dum, ta-dee-dum, dee, sort of to go more into it rather than, anyway, just the different possibilities, of course. How about your da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, just that measure.
Yeah, that's second.
I'll turn. No retard there. Okay, I didn't mean you to stop, just observation as we're going along. Okay, you weren't used to that, whatever. Just think about how you want to make that progression. It wasn't so convincing now, but you know, just think about how you want to deal with those changes. And if Okay. If you want to know what Schubert's about, let's play for them 192. I mean, it's not what Schubert's about, but it's so characteristic and so beautiful right here. Okay, we're finished with that, he says, after doing that beautiful thing. Okay, now we're back. It's such a beautiful moment. Okay, beautifully played by all of you. Okay, very good. Okay, how about, we're sort of running out of time, but we have a little time. Is there anything we should cover that we haven't in this long movement? Huh?
The coda?
The coda, yeah. All right. So let's do that. See, you like to slow up those measures for some reason. Try not. Think there's a kind of tension in so, same. Not too loud. Okay, how about not being too reticent on the forte and right away starting it yum pa pam pam, you know, not to shy away from that. So ti da da dee dee da yum pa pa pa. I think right away, not again, don't ease into it. Great. So how about 289? She'll give you two measures. That's just color, great. And that's it. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Okay, that was nice. Wow. Beautiful playing, beautiful. So now this Brahms quartet, he wrote, or there are left 3 quartets. I think he started many quartets and destroyed them. He destroyed a lot of his music, and so he wrote an Opus 25 and 26. They're right next to each other. This is Opus 60. It's quite a bit later, and it's very much darker, less flamboyant, less kind of virtuosic in a way. I don't mean to play, but as a listener, it's not flashy. but it's very dark and meaningful. So just a little anecdote. I mean, Brahms had a good sense of humor, and this piece is dark, and when it ends with Yam Ba, the end of the piece. And so he wrote to the publisher, let's see, it's not in here. Well, he wrote to the publisher that they should have on the cover of the print, a picture of a man with a gun to his head. Sense of humor, but it gives a picture of the kind of the darkness of the piece, you know, and the seriousness of the piece. So, and all three of the quartets are quite different. The first one is very long and it's A major, and it's very lyrical and expansive. The next one, G minor, is very dramatic with a kind of virtuoso gypsy finale, the last movement. Virtuosic to play and exciting to hear. And this one is more introverted, more intimate. Okay, folks, are you here? This is our trio in residence. If they don't look like a trio, it's because they're not. They've added a violist for this piece who very kindly has joined them. reminded when I hear music that I know well or that I've played, how many different possibilities there are of intelligent playing. And when people sometimes say, well, just play what's on the page, you know, follow the score, that's sort of a meaningless statement because context is so important. And so the score is black and white. It's looks very measured and rigid, and it can't tell you about a lot of the possibilities, the nuances, the time taking, what the forte means in this particular context or that context. There's so much, I mean, that we have to do, and that's good. That gives us opportunity to do stuff. All right, so you might think that the first thing that is played here is easy. He just plays, boom, C chord. It's not easy. How forte should he play it? It has to sound for 2 measures. How long does he hold it? Does he get off right when they attack, or does he get off before? Things like that. So actually, I thought it was very beautiful, both the first 2 chords. It can be, you know, it's a kind of a open chords. There's no harmony really. It's just C's, 4 C's, and it can be on the piano it's forte. So it can be harsh, and it's hard to make it, you know, resonant, which is what you want to do. You want to ring, but you don't want to assault the listener. It's not easy, and the whole first part is not easy for the strings either, and the connections. And question, do you mean the opening to be in tempo, or is this the tempo of the movement for you, or are you going to change it?
I think it's slightly slower.
Slightly slower. Now that's something that I think also makes sense to me. It's not written in the score that it should be slightly slower, and musicians of excellence would disagree one way or the other. So it's not everything is written in stone. There's really a lot that we have to figure out ourselves. So where do you think the tempo comes in for you? There.
The arco.
Yeah, I think so. So I think if the first part is a little slower, maybe not even deliberately, but just in the nature of it, it's okay. And then when you get to there, you should be at what you want the tempo to be. Bum. So anyway, so let's start the opening. I'll try to touch as much as I can. Okay, so I thought beautiful at the beginning strings, all of that. Okay, and then great ensemble. You caught each other very beautifully. And I would be a little more with that note. Ta-yam. I don't know. You know, so rather than ta-yam.
I think it comes a little bit with the context of what comes.
Yes, I mean, think about it. The piano can't make a crescendo on one note, from one note to another, because it doesn't have a bow. It doesn't have a breath. So if he has to do ta-yam, I mean, that's, and Brahms wrote an unrealistic crescendo there. Ta-yam. So I mean, the poor piano can only do ta-tam. It can be, so I think he should be a little louder on the first note so that it's reaching to that crescendo. Okay, and then great after that. On these ta-tam, bum, ba, I would play, you know, a little more resonant on ti-tam on the short note, on the eighth note. Ta-pum, bum, pi, pa-pum, pa, rather than ta-tam. So again, that's subjective matter. It says short. How short is short? I mean, that's really contextual and up to the individual to some extent. Okay. Da-da-da-da-da, those hemiolas. Ta-dim, ta-dim, ta-da. Can they go through the rest a little bit? Not so much ta-dam, ta-dam. So if you can have ta-dim, ta-dim, ta-dim. You know, there is a rest, but okay. Personally, I wouldn't get so soft. I would lead a little bit into the piano. Okay. So can we do? We don't have to do. I mean, just let's. Where do you want to start from?
Maybe.
Okay.
42. Is that fair?
Sure. Dum, dum, I like that. I think that works well. Okay, so maybe a little more taper now. Then now was maybe a little too ta-da, ta-da. So a little taper on that note. All right, let's go on with your solo. But that was a really nice connection. Where do you want to play from? You want to? All right. Every piece issues about transitions and connections. So this connection, ta-dee-dum, ta-dee-dum, bum-ba-dum-bum, you know, a little closer together, ta-dee-dum, bum, 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 bum. I would think, but all right. How about, and I would think you could be a little more demonstrative, espressivo-wise, on the opening of your solo. Yes, he says piano, but he also says espressivo. So espressivo in some way usually means a kind of enlargement of the range, of the emotional range. So I think it also often means slightly grander dynamic. So I would be attentive to that. Okay, we don't have to do that again. How about,
Second.
fine, yeah, good.
78.
Thanks. Yes. So if you want, I don't often love slides, but I think that this is a good place, and your colleague does it. So just a little bit. We can't slide on the piano so easily. So, so right where you were. Wait a minute. Tum bum. Okay. So strings. Ta-dim. Can you make the end of your note more tapered, more graceful? Not make it so ta-di. Stop. Dee-dim. Dee. Close it off with a kind of consonant like an M. Dee-dim. Dee-dim. So, all right. Can we do play from here?
It's 2 bars before you come in.
So now, good. Question about your articulation. Ding, bum, bum, bum. Then all of a sudden you start doing dot, dot, dot. Well, I would think it's better, you know, even if you're not using the pedal, rather than like it's like a string player would do, rather than, you know. So, and what you do here is great. So you think subito piano?
Yes, that's for me at least.
Okay. So just my question is that fussy? Because there's a diminuendo into it. Whatever.
That's right.
Anyway.
You mean crescendo into the piano, not necessarily subito.
Right. Okay. So. Yeah, so ti di 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 ti da.
Ah, okay.
You know. and I think you should really do that, really, let it out. It's great. Scrub away. So here, bravo to you. This is a hard section. To me, you da-da-da-da, you rush the triplets. Ya, ya, pa-pa-pa, pa-pa-pa-pa, ta-pa-pa-pa, all of that. I would think, keep that like rhythmic and strong. I think by doing ya-da-da-da, you weaken it in some way, character-wise. Okay, how about right there? Ya-pa-pa-pa, ta-pa-pa-pa. By the way, I know you weren't comfortable with that slide before, so, but I think, you can think about it and see. I know you're not used to it, so. Okay, great. And at the end, good, with all that kind of wonderful rhythmic stuff, and viola, great. Tiny thing, ti, pa, 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 pa. Just acoustically, if you get too soft too soon, it sort of gets buried. So ti pa pa pi pa pa. Make the diminuendo way toward the end of that. Okay, right there we can start, which is right after the double bar. Yeah, great. You need to be much more there on those pitches. And I want to tell you also, before I thought you needed to be more assertive, if I can think of where it was. Maybe I can't think of where it was, but whatever. Okay, but here you certainly need, to come out more. Okay, great. Wherever you want.
Same place?
Same place, all right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Okay, so personally, I wouldn't retard there, but whatever. Let's go on, because we are sort of out of time. I wanted to get to the sostenuto, to the end. Okay, so how about from, what is it?
288.
Yeah, 288.
Dum, bim.
Yum, pa 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 pa. 288. Sostenuto, so what does that mean to you? What do you want to do, you guys? Espressivo and sostenuto. Sostenuto sempre. And then afterwards he even has ben sostenuto. That's the cousin of sostenuto. Okay, so anyway, that's not why I'm doing the end, to get the joke in. So I don't know whether you felt sostenuto there, strings. So, you know, ti-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dum, ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-ta. Now, ti-da-dee-da-dee, just so a little laborious, ti-da-dee, not so easy. I thought it was the same, that it didn't change. And then I do think the ben sostenuto means, you know, it's even more sostenuto. So when he comes to that point, so ti-da, dee-da-dee-dum, dee-da-dee-dum, that you're really holding ta-dee-da, ta-dee-da, tee-da-dee-da, then kind of explosion of release from there. So I thought that was fine that you played really quickly there. All right, so once more, and then we're going to really have to stop. You can't let go of that long note so soon. It's not the, and there's silence. And did you hold it?
Yeah, I did not. That was my fault.
Okay, so piano is still holding it in the pedal, but strings you can't release like that. I'd be a little less staccato here. So ti da dee da 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 dee da 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 da, rather than ta ta ti ta ta ta, personal. So from there, animato. 3, and 2, bye. Okay, beautiful, thank you. Okay, thanks. Thanks.